What's up, people? VanTX89 here. Time for another rant, because why not? Got a lot on my mind. Whole lot's been happening. Personal stuff and all. And I gotta put up something. No, I still have plenty of videos left to upload, but, yeah. But, yeah, let's get down to business right away, because usually I end up rambling for a minute or two, don't I? Yeah, so, I'm not entirely sure where I want to go with this one. I suppose what I'll do is kind of touch base on two things like I did last video. First and foremost, well, why not? My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Okay, get a little background. The show is made by Lauren Faust. A lot of you might have already seen her work before. Wait, what do you mean? Some of you probably remember the Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. She's responsible for that. I believe Foster's was with her husband. They worked together and made that. So, yeah, that. There were a lot of people that watched the Powerpuff Girls back in the day. Boys and girls. I did, when they showed it on Kids WB. And I loved that show because it was so ridiculous. No, I didn't see it as a girly show. I did at first. But then I sat down and watched a few episodes, and they happened to be some good ones. I don't remember the names of them, but of course, and then I was anticipating the episode with the Rowdy Rough Boys, because one of my friends had told me about it, and it actually was a pretty decent episode. It was one of the better ones. But, yeah, it's more of an over-the-top superhero kind of show. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, that's a neutral kind of thing. You know, somebody's working at like a little boarding house for imaginary friends who have either been abandoned or, well, just forgotten. You know, there's nothing about that. But then you have the show with the colorful ponies with the high pitched voices and stuff. That's kind of give and take. That is kind of a. I haven't really watched the show yet. I believe it's on Netflix. And yes, I am actually going to watch the show somewhat. Why? Because, well, to be honest, it's actually not that bad from the clips I've seen. Heck, I've even watched YouTube poops of it. And yeah, that shows you exactly how messed up that is. Really? YTP? Do you know how long ago it's been since that's been relevant? Yeah, actually. Yeah. But from what little bits and pieces of clips that I have seen up on YouTube, like I said, the show is not that bad. Thing is that you have gender roles and expectations associated with those roles, and of course, you know, the stigmas that come with it. And since this is 2014, and a lot of progressiveness has been like integrated into society and our culture and how we think and do. And yet you still have like this crazy crap. There's two reasons why. Because there's two reasons why the whole brony movement is kind of like despised. And I didn't even really have to dig too deep in order to find out. So, first, let's just go on ahead and touch base one as we go around the diamond, you know, and try and make a home run here. It does seem like a girls' show. The main cast are female characters, and they're freaking ponies, very brightly colored ponies. Now, if you go back, this is not the original My Little Pony. There was My Little Pony way back, like before I was born. So, 80s. This is a whole new entry in the franchise. Therefore, yeah, it's going to bring in some new blood, some that haven't actually grown up with the original and never had those toys. Believe me, there were toys. There were a lot of toys. I remember those commercials. So you got that, and then you have the, and then you have that. I don't know why I did that. I practically rehearsed this before I even started recording. I don't know. It's freaking 70-something degrees in February. What the hell? Anyway, girls love ponies. So that goes hand in hand. That's the reason why it's going to sell well, of course. But then, like I said, the characters are brightly colored and they've got, some of them have high-pitched voices and whatnot, and standard kind of girly fare. But that has never really stopped anybody from really, getting into something that would have been considered for someone else. Like, say, Super Mario Brothers. There have been girls that have played Super Mario Brothers back in the 80s. You have girl gamers. And the unfortunate thing is that, like I said, because of gender roles and those stigmas and whatnot, it's kind of hard to ingratiate female gamers into the general gamer populace without there being friction. And that kind of tension is unwarranted and completely unnecessary. But when you have immature people and internet tough guys and whatnot, getting online and talking smack, and then, you kind of have the lonely people in there, and, so, they might not necessarily know how to talk to a girl. So that kind of social awkwardness kind of gets in the way, and so they kind of go by the little boy method. They tease girls, they pull their hair, and they throw mud at them or whatever, because secretly they actually like them. That's what it is. I don't know. I wasn't like that. Instead, I actually would just kind of, sit there and kind of like look at her all, and try and talk to her and be her friend and be nice and everything. And unfortunately, that put me in the nice guy slot. And usually, the girls that I've known don't really, they don't really go for the nice guy. So yeah, another gender role right there. Boom. You're a nice guy, you're not going to, well, it's not technically a gender role, but still, no, a gender role would usually be like, oh, okay, a man, a man doesn't cry. That's a sign of weakness. You can't do that. No, a woman, oh, okay, yeah, she's going to be overbearing and emotional, and, of course, she's going to be the nurturer, the one that cuddles the children, and the dad's going to be the tough one. He's going to be the disciplinarian. Not necessarily. Those roles were kind of reversed in my house. My dad was actually more of the fun parent, and my mom was the one that was the tough, serious one. But from time to time, my dad would actually get kind of on lockdown mode. He'd be like the warden of the prison and shit. That's how that was. But you've got, oh, hey, okay, we're making time. I'm going to get back to My Little Pony, but that's not the main focus here. That's the topic to start everything. So, yeah, good Lord, really? It's not that hot, is it? Then you've got, like, oh, okay, well, fine. A girl's supposed to be, like the kind of dainty, frilly, kind of sensitive type, whereas little boys are supposed to be rough and tumble, rough housing, getting covered in dirt, eating nothing but cookies and all sorts of candy and playing out in the mud and collecting bugs and all that. That's not exactly how it is. Yeah, that's how it used to be, but that's not necessarily how it always was. Even back then, you had some exceptions to the rule. And that's why you have like that one boy or one girl that kept getting like left out of things, like whenever everybody wanted to go on a picnic or go to the beach or play baseball or whatever. and then they leave that kid out because of stuff like that, because they don't see them as being normal or like them, basically, because they don't really like the things that the other kids do. And by human nature, we are afraid of what we don't understand. And so we try and stay away from it and keep it in a box up on a shelf somewhere so we can ignore it. Yeah, that has not helped anything ever in the history of mankind. So, okay, things start changing. Okay, you got a girl that actually likes collecting bugs and likes playing baseball with the boys. All of a sudden, now that makes her, like a boy. So, therefore, oh, great. So she must like girls just like boys do. All of a sudden that makes her a dyke. Not necessarily. Seriously. And then, see, you have, like nowadays, you've got, the girly girl, but, it ends up being more like she can put it on when she wants to. I mean, seriously, you got women like Danica Patrick, Eliza Dushku, Gina Carano, and they, Michelle Rodriguez, and they can roll with the boys, but they can still look gorgeous when they want to. They clean up nicely, and then they end up looking like they dress to the nines. They got their hair and their makeup just right, and just bam, glamorous. See, it's when you want to. You don't have to adhere to that all the damn time. So there's that. But then, there's so much that people expect from you when you're a certain gender or whatever. And that's what makes it harder. And as a result, that makes it harder for the LGBT community as well, because of all that. I'm not necessarily in full support of that community, but shit, I honestly believe in people just being people, and there's mutual respect, and treat people the way that you want to be treated. Because in all honesty, I feel like that's pretty much what Christians are supposed to be anyway, despite what it may or may not say in the Bible, about this, that, or the other, how this person lives. It's supposed to kind of show some form of love to whoever, and not necessarily spend all of your time telling somebody that they're going to hell and scrutinizing and discriminating. But I digress. So, just because a boy likes this show with these brightly colored horses, that means he's gay? Not really. This has gone on for quite a while, so this is going to desync. But you got boy ponies on the show too, apparently. Kind of evens it out. It's not necessarily like that, and you just it's disappointing. That's what it is. But then you've got the second aspect, the bronies. That. So apparently, from what I've heard, it actually started on 4chan. Of course. I honestly don't care. So the MLP fandom is supposedly split amongst the male fans and the female fans. The males referred to as bronies. The females referred to as Pegasisters. Okay. I heard one fan say that Pegasisters sounds stupid. And, she'd like for the girls to also be called bronies. But, would be interesting if we could come up with a neutral fandom term. But I will say this, because this was going to be another rant about fandoms. In every fandom, and what is a fandom? Well, basically a community of fans, of whatever kind of show or story, comic book, movie, anything that you can actually be a fan of. More than likely, there's a community for it. Message boards, Skype, Reddit, Tumblr, whatever. That's going to date this later on in the future. But yeah, so you got that. There's going to be like that loud mouth part that's just absolutely ignorant. You're going to have the ones that are going to be reasonable. You're going to have the ones that you can't win a discussion. Instead, they turn into an argument. Instead of having like an insightful kind of discussion, believe me, you can actually find some real intelligent discussion in anything. Any freaking thing. Seriously, I'm a member of the Power Rangers fandom. And there have been some really insightful posts and hypotheses and, just like all sorts of really, really intricate things that you'd find in a children's superhero show about people in freaking spandex beating up people in rubber suits. We've actually found things from that. And yeah, some of us actually, hold it near and dear, to the point that we'll get mad if you insult us or whatever, or say Sentai's better or something. Yeah, that's some of us. I remember back in the day, I used to be so mad whenever anybody would say anything negative about Power Rangers. But as I got older, I kind of opened up and I was like, oh, okay. I learned to accept the corniness and laugh at it and everything. And so, like a lot of my fellow fandom members, I can actually roll with the punches and will even poke fun at how ridiculous some of the show is. That's how it is. So, going back to what I was saying, you have some members of the fandom that are, good lord, it took me this long just to get to that. You have some members of the fandom who, and this is where the whole negative aspect of bronies comes from in the first place. Well, it's one of two reasons specifically, other than the first one that I mentioned. That it's a girl show, so, why would a boy be watching? It's not necessarily a girl show. But, yeah, you've got the misconception that all of the guys that watch the show are nothing but ravenous perverts that enjoy looking at the brightly colored ponies and just, oh my god, Rainbow Dad, yeah! Just no. You've got to be kidding me. Not everybody is like that. You have those members of various fandoms that are absolute ravenous perverts that keep to the dark corner of the fandom and just enjoy, perving out on whatever. That's them. That's not the whole fandom. Those bronies are more than likely a part of the furry fandom as well. And that's the thing. The furry fandom isn't entirely what you think that it is. It's not entirely the stereotype. There's misconceptions to that too, apparently, from what I've heard. What I've read and this, that, and the other. So it's like really awkward to have that. And so then you have a lot of other people that then turn it around on the entire fan base. And, everybody that watches My Little Pony is a furry. Fuck them all. Yiff in hell, you bastards. Dude, come on now. You mean to tell me even the 3-year-olds that happen to watch the show too? Come on. No, just come on. It's not that bad. Like I said, the show is it's got bright colors and the animation's rather fluid. That can catch the attention of a 1-year-old, for real. Seriously, they love bright colors and loud sounds and high-pitched voices and this, that, and the other. It's just. I have another reason for wanting to see the show. Tara Strong. Why? She's one of my favorite voice actresses. The woman's been in practically every freaking thing. And that's another reason why. To check out what else that she's doing with that show. Seriously, her fan base was already big anyway. And then, thanks to My Little Pony and then the Brony movement, it just boom. It's a major boom. Major increase in Tara Strong fans. So there you go. You've heard like the little mini meme of sorts that Tara Strong has an army of bronies at her beck and call. That might actually be true. Because like I said, the woman is top-notch MILF for real. Seriously. She's very, very pretty. And she's talented. And she's pretty laid back. So there's that. So as a fan, of course I'm going to check out her work. But you got like so much other negative stuff that's thrown in there. And at the end of the day, it's a children's television program. Yet people want to blow shit out of proportion. Seriously, I'm going to link a story in the description because I'm sure that a lot of you have already heard it about the 11-year-old who tried to kill himself over being bullied because he loves the show. That's actually going to go into another video because I was wondering how I was going to continue on with the bullying video because I didn't really have anywhere else to go with it. So we have that. So I'll link that story. You can read it if you haven't already heard it. And, just keep that in mind when we go into the next one because it's just absolutely stupid. And just the way that everything is, it just doesn't make any sense considering at this point you have people that are fans of all sorts of stuff. You got people that are fans of comic books, people that are fans of certain movie series, people that are fans of video game franchises, people that are fans of anime, and yet you don't really hear a whole lot of scrutiny towards them. Granted, you might hear something about something like, oh great, a whole bunch of man children, grow up, move out of your parents' basement. Or you might hear somebody call them losers. That's that. That's all that is for the most part. But, it hits hard when you're really young and then you have that. But, I gotta stop with that because I'm going to go into the next video with that. I can't keep doing that. But, you don't have a whole bunch of people just running down comic book fans or anime fans, or at least not as much as before. I don't even really remember all that many people that actually had negative stuff to say. Maybe because, for one, it's the internet, and the internet is filled with a lot of geeks, to be honest. Honestly, yes. And with the surge, where all of a sudden now geekdom, everybody wants to be a geek now. Everybody wants to be this, that, and the other, even though they might not actually be a geek. Just because you watch The Big Bang Theory doesn't make you a geek. Just because you read, just this certain comic book series, I wouldn't necessarily say that makes you a total geek. I mean, if you're like a casual reader, say you watch the occasional episode of, Stargate SG-1 or Star Trek, or, you just so happen to kind of, enjoy Star Wars, but you didn't actually, go into the expanded universe and read the novels and all that. That doesn't necessarily make you a geek. That might make you geek light, but that's it. So, with that, now it's kind of hard to just bowl everybody over and say, oh, no, you're a geek. Nerd, go kill yourself. That's some stupid, random internet tough guy talk, which is unwarranted and unnecessary. Seriously, see, you can't do that for that because, it's so widespread and everybody knows about manga and comic books and anime and, and all that. And those people yeah, you can kind of ridicule them and laugh at them and stuff, but they're so great in number that it's kind of commonplace and kind of hard to just completely just bash them and beat them down and completely snuff them out. So on that same page, you've got the My Little Pony fandom, which ends up getting like some serious flack. Yet, when it comes to the Avatar: The Last Airbender fandom, things are, I don't really know because I haven't actually watched the show yet and I've been intending on it. Cable, that's why. But I believe it's on Netflix, so I'll be able to watch that. So, yeah, you got that, and turns out, yeah, there are girls that watch The Last Airbender. And then you got the follow-up series, The Legend of Korra, and that is what drove it home. And then you really heard that there was a loud, a loud voice in the female side of the fan base. And but then again, in that case, you actually had a female main character, a female lead. And she's meant to be a strong, a strong female character. But there are guys who actually watch the show as well, because you want to know why? Because it's the follow-up to the show that everybody loved in the first place. So why not? It doesn't matter. I mean, come on. You had the freaking waterbenders in it, and Katara actually had some fans. Sokka had fans. As a result, it's not that freaking complicated. Nobody really criticized anybody for liking that. At least not as loudly, not as boldly. And it doesn't make any sense why it would be the same. I guess because it is that MLP is aimed at a younger audience, I suppose. And, to be honest, if I had a little girl and she watched the show and she was like, "Daddy, come watch this with me," I'd watch it. And to be honest, I'd probably end up enjoying it. Some of the stuff that I watched, my parents actually enjoyed. Or something like that. Seriously, I don't know. I really can't remember because it's been so long ago. But I could bet you that my dad actually enjoyed at least a couple of episodes of Batman the Animated Series. My dad's the reason why I'm a Batman fan in the first place. Like I said, shit, you got girls that are fans of Batman. And yet, they don't get chewed out. I don't know. It's just, I don't really know how to end this other than the fact that it's just absolutely ridiculous that this is where we're going with it. You think, like I said, it's 2014. You think that, we kind of will move past that, but when it comes to like being on the playground, that's what kids do. They tease. But to go back to my bullying video, the first one, it's changed. It's not just teasing. Some people actually go out of their way to outright hurt that person, whether it's emotionally or physically. I'm not sure why they do it. There's several possibilities as to why they do it, but that's not why they, but it's not warranted why they do it. It's one thing to tease somebody, but then it's another to outright just keep on picking and just trying to beat that person down. Especially if, say, you actually want them dead. I don't see, seriously, if you're like, say, age 7, I don't see why the hell you'd want somebody dead. You might not like that person. You might not want to sit next to them. You might not want to talk to them. You might want to pretend like they might not exist. But you wouldn't necessarily want them to just outright die. So, yeah, I want to stop before I transition into that video. So, it's just really, really freaking awkward. Makes no sense whatsoever that this gets torn down, just because of the content. If you actually watch the show, the show is actually about tolerance and valuing friendship. Apparently, each of the ponies comes from like a different walk of life. They have like their own different personalities. They don't actually mesh well in a general sense, but they still are the best of friends despite everything. That's some powerful shit right there. How is that a bad thing? How is that a girl-only thing? Learning friendship and loyalty are things that really actually work best for people. And that's how it should be. That's what we actually need now more than ever, because shit, for some reason, our culture is more everybody for themselves and just being belligerent, impudent assholes. And that's not what we're supposed to be. Seriously, I really feel like we've fallen off so far. I don't even know where we are anymore, and if we'll ever be able to pick back up and be who we were, or be better than we are. If you're just going to keep letting any old body get on TV, and make a show out of, these stupid people, yet you're going to try and reduce how much you're going to, empowering and inspirational material, instead just constantly filling in the slots with garbage TV. But I've already said my piece about that last year, or was it the year before last? But yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Why actually bash something that doesn't really need it? Or because somebody actually enjoys something that's actually harmless?